This is the Mickey Miles and More podcast, your one stop for information on Disney races, Disney vacations, Disney theme parks, and more. Now, here are your hosts for the Mickey Miles and More podcast, Michelle Scribner-McLean, Chris Eliopoulos, and Mike Scopa.
Welcome back, Milers, to episode number 9. I am your host, Chris Eliopoulos, and with me today is Dr. Michelle Scribner-McLean. Welcome, Michelle.
Gentlemen, how are you?
Good. How's everything with you?
I'm fine. I didn't bother to change my clothes since the last show, but
well, it's been 5 days.
I knew you guys wouldn't mind. You know, you can't. There's no body odor on the internet, right? So
but you're still in Coco Land. You're still in the land of the dead.
I am. Remember me. So I have some shout outs to some new subscribers, and they are Bruce Brodsky, Jennifer Hardy, who's an MEI Mouse Fan Travel Planner, Disney Gwen, Jennifer Green, our buddy Elvin Torres, and Wade Anderson. So thank you guys for subscribing.
Thank you. Welcome
Really
aboard. And of course, with the both of us is our good friend, Michael Scopa. Mike, give me something.
I'll take a nap for $100.
Oh, I know that.
Oh, is it Ellen's Energy Adventure?
Mm-hmm.
I got one. Winning
That's
the
right,
day. So today we're going to talk about something from Disney Plus, but we're going to try and be a little topical and sort of there's constantly stuff, and probably by the time we even post this, things will have changed again. But there's some updates to the Disney park. So Mike, why don't you give us some updates to what's been happening that people might not be aware of at this point?
So obviously with the virus and with the reopening of Walt Disney World, there are some adjustments that are being made, and we're learning more and more about those adjustments. For those of you who are familiar with Galaxy's Edge, there is a lounge/bar there called Olga's Cantina. That will not be open.
Olga's Cantina?
Olga's Cantina. That
Olga?
will not be open.
Is it Olga?
Is it Olga? I believe it's Olga. Yeah.
No, Olga is like a Russian woman from the past. I don't know. What's her name? Oda?
I believe it's Olga.
All right. I'm going to let everybody comment below.
Let me double check.
And give Mike the proper. No, don't you check. Everybody's got to give the proper answer in the. All right, Mike's going to look.
Olga.
Yeah, right. They're going to have vodka. They only have vodka there.
Olga.
Is it Olga's Cantina?
Not Olga.
That's Olga's Cantina.
Not Olga.
Anyways,
I wanted to play this out for a while. I wanted this to go.
I was there only once. And
Apparently you had too much to drink when you were there.
Yeah, obviously.
And I will advise if you ever decide to go there, make sure you take out a mortgage first. Anyways.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So anyways, that's one of the things that's happening. We're hearing about a lot of these things like no fireworks and no parades and no character meet and greet or whatever. However, there is going to be a character meet and greet, and it's going to happen only at one place in Walt Disney World. It's going to be at the Garden Grill in Epcot. They haven't given us details exactly what that's going to be, but that is a rotating restaurant, and my guess is that just the characters are going to walk around and say hi. So, but I don't think there's going to be hugging and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, no.
So just wanted to let everybody know about that.
Okay.
Though there was a new show that was supposed to open up with Cirque du Soleil. Cirque du Soleil filed for bankruptcy a few days ago, and with that they terminated about 3,500 employees. So that's kind of sad. Hopefully they'll bounce back.
Gosh, I think just with
Not a
their
joke.
shows in Las Vegas that
They'll bounce back.
That was a joke,
just with
right?
their shows in Las Vegas, you'd think that they'd be profitable.
Yeah, you would think so.
So did they terminate that show?
That show is at least on hold for now. I mean, I don't even think it opened. Did it open? I don't remember.
Mm-mm.
So anyways, let's hope that's just a temporary thing. Another temporary thing is that the AMC theaters down in Disney Springs was supposed to open on the 15th of July. That's been pushed back to the 30th of July. So we'll see what that's all about. I'm thinking that they had to make some adjustments in the theaters. There's going to be things involving, how you get drinks and where you can sit and all that. So I think they're just checking on that.
Yeah, because they have the two different. They have the fork and dine, and then they have the regular. So it'd be interesting to think about what the protocols are in those different places.
Yeah, yeah. One of the most important things for anyone to know who's going down there during the next month or so, they need to understand what's going on with the Walt Disney World transportation. There are certain things that are going to be quite different. For instance, the express monorail and the resort monorail will be in service. So you'll be able to go to the TTC, be able to go to the Grand Floridian, Polynesian, and the Contemporary, but you're not going to be able to go to Epcot on the monorail. So people need to be aware of that.
Because you can't park up.
Yeah, I believe that's the reason, Michelle. The Skyliner will be in operation. They have 3 lines for the Skyliner. They've got for guests at the Riviera, Pop Century, and the studios. Those are going to be up and running. The ferry boats will be available from the TTC to the Magic Kingdom. That's going to be available. And they're also going to have those little boats from the Polynesian, the Wilderness Lodge, Fort Wilderness to the Magic Kingdom. Here's an interesting thing. If you're staying at Beach Club and Boardwalk, and I mean, this is funny because I always thought this was the only way I would go. They have said you'll have no transportation. If you're at the Beach Club and Boardwalk, you'll have no transportation to Epcot unless you're going to walk. But you walk anyway, so I don't even know why they mentioned that. All the buses are going to be listed except if there's an alternative. All the Friendship boats and the Sasagula boats, they're not going to be in service. So you can't go to, so you can't use the Friendship boats for the lagoon, and you can't use the Sasagula boats if you're going to Disney Springs, I believe. So that's the minivans are not going to be available. And Chris, you've used those. Magical Express is going to be available. Here's a big one right here. You ready for this?
What's that?
The parking lot trams will not be available.
Oh.
Now, a lot of people don't realize that. So all guests will need to walk from the parking lot to the front of the park or to the monorail, So
are they going to expand the handicap park area?
I don't know, Michelle, but all I know is that they don't want to use the trams, and it could be because of the proximity of the guests sitting. So that's I mean, I think that's a big deal.
They could do every other row and wipe it down after every trip.
They could. So that was a big deal. And the last 2 things that have come out the last couple of days is that the Swan and Dolphin are offering a 30% discount on room rates for Walt Disney World annual pass holders. So that's an interesting thing. And I don't know what type of capacity those 2 hotels are looking at, but I'm not sure it's 100%, but 30% is 30%. So that was pretty interesting. And last but not least, kind of a bummer for college kids is that the college program is being suspended until further notice.
Oh no!
So all that stuff is obviously a result from the virus and the reopening. And I don't know if there's more coming, but I think as we get closer to July 11th, we might be. You might be seeing more. So that's, in a nutshell, that's all the stuff that people need to be aware of if you're going down.
Well, you forgot one thing, which was also that they closed all the bars down there as well. So after taking that long walk from the parking lot out up to the parks, you're not going to be able to have a drink when you get inside.
Oh, never
so
thought of that.
That brings up an interesting point, Chris. So if they are going to extend the International Food and Wine Festival and this mandate regarding no serving alcohol in bars, what does that do to the serving of alcohol around World Showcase? Because I mean, I'm guessing that they, on the one hand, they're saying we don't want people to congregate inside, but you're going to congregate outside. So I haven't seen anything, but I'm wondering what's going to happen with food and wine.
And what's going to happen with those tables, people sitting and eating, their little tapas or whatever they are
Food
at
and
those
wine
tables.
is so crowded, especially the weekends. It's just, it's no fun to be there on Saturday.
I honestly don't know how they're going to do all this stuff, but we shall see. Time will tell. We have about a week and a half before they fully open up. So we'll see if we actually even get there. But moving on. So in these times where we're not allowed to go down to the parks and we can't really get away and we want our Disney fix, luckily enough, like we said on the last episode, we've been happy to see that Disney Plus was available. And we thought we would talk about one show in particular today that actually Michelle and Mike told me that I had to watch. I was not fully interested in, but once I watched it, I had to watch every single episode because it was really, really good.
Haven't you learned to listen to us?
I know. At this point, I should just shut up and listen. But the show is called Prop Culture. It follows around a guy named, I'm going to get his name right, Dan Lanigan, who is a prop collector. I didn't realize that there were people out there that did this, but they go out and they find movie props and they keep them, they buy them, and they restore them if they need to. And so he goes around each episode and talks about certain movies and the props from those movies, and sometimes even reunites the actors or the directors or the designers with those props. And it's actually a really touching and fascinating show. So I don't know, Mike, Michelle, do you want to lead us through some of the episodes and what they fought, Michelle, or what they found?
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to know why you weren't really interested in it, Chris.
I just,
because you seem like a collector. If we look behind you, you've got some comic books.
No, yeah, I do.
I know you have a lot of R2-D2 stuff.
Well, you know what it is? I guess that's what it is. It's, I do love certain things. Like you can't see it, but so right behind here in this little cabinet here, I have about 200 little R2-D2 action figures. I have a lot of Star Wars stuff in there. You see the comic book stuff behind me. I even have that's an R2-D2 lamp right there.
Yeah.
So we all have our own little things. Mike's got his little Mickeys right on his table. So for me, it wasn't, I understand collecting as a hobby, but I was not that interested in movie props, at least not like Back to the Future or Star Wars props I'd be interested in. So for me, it was whatever. Tron I liked. I was like, oh, I have to do that one. But so yeah, it was more of the type of props that he was going to look at, the movies, that I was like, I mean, I don't really need to see like the bag from Mary Poppins, but he made it interesting.
Yeah. So that's what I actually was going to say, is that I always tell my students who are learning to be teachers that you can make anything interesting if you're passionate about it. Mm-hmm. So the example that I always give is Car Talk, which is a big show in Boston.
Yeah.
Didn't care.
Car Talk.
Yeah, watch
Car Talk.
The night they were in their Car Talk. Click and Clack, the Tapper Brothers. Growing up, I didn't care anything. I still don't care anything about cars, but I listened to those guys because they were so passionate about it.
Right.
And that's the host of the show is so passionate and has so much love for these items and these movies that it's just a very, very sweet show. So the first one in the series was Mary Poppins. Mm-hmm. And I just thought it was really, really delightful. I actually haven't seen Tron. I have to watch that one. I never saw the movie. But
what?
But him going around to different places and going into the Disney archives and finding these very special things, I just thought was very sweet. On that particular episode, they have the actress who plays Karen in Mary Poppins. Mm-hmm. They give her hat. They show her hat, and and she's so touched by it. It's just really, really wonderful.
You know what I've loved? What I saw in a bunch of episodes is when the actors reunited with their costume. Yeah. Have you noticed they keep saying "Hello, old friend"?
Yeah.
Is that weird?
Yeah.
They all said it differently. They didn't know each other, didn't know what was going on, and they all would say "Hello, old friend."
But even things like, I would never be interested in who made the swords in Pirates of the Caribbean, but they go to the person who actually made the swords and talk to him. I just think it's really, really interesting.
You learn different things. Like I didn't realize the designer of the Mary Poppins look was married to Julie Andrews.
Yeah, I actually did know that because I read Julie Andrews biography. And she talks a lot about that. But yeah. It was
fascinating. I loved Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It was, like I said, it was really fun to watch actors and directors and people like that get back and seeing their old stuff. And Mike, what was your favorite episode?
I kind of like them all, Chris. There was one that I liked. I liked the one about the Muppet movie because I'm always been a big Paul Williams fan, and when I saw him, it was like, oh my God, he's still alive. And
Yeah.
like Michelle had said, the people who were involved in making these special movies and the effort and the love the love of creating something special really came through when they say hello old friend, or when they see one of these props, for instance the shrinking machine and Honey I Shrunk the Kids. That was
And
really
how they
something.
restored it. They go
Yeah.
through the whole thing of how they restored it.
Yeah, the Jack Skeleton thing, and I've always been a fan of the stop action animation, so that was something that was interesting to me. It's just really it's really nice to see that stuff, and I think that prop culture series was made for the old school Disney fans. I really think
Yeah.
so.
It's like when you're missing Disney and you need your fix and you know that you can't go, it kind of just brings you a little closer, and just very, very sweet. Very, very sweet.
Yeah. And it's fascinating to watch. They all seem to know him. So there must be a culture, like you were saying, of these collectors and people who go and restore. And they all seem to know Dan, which was fun. Like, what do you got for me today? You know, like there was this sort of attitude of, here's the guy that's passionate about it. And I, you know, as a comic book creator and a book creator and stuff, it always brings me joy when there's people who appreciate the stuff I've put into these books. And it was fun to see that appreciation seen from a creator to a collector.
Yeah. And I'm actually not a collector. I'm the opposite. I'm a thrower-awayer.
Yeah.
But I love
Thrower-awayer?
museums. You know, I worked at a museum for 20 years. I love museums. I love artifacts. I love to see how people talk about artifacts and the stories behind the artifacts. So highly recommend that
Here
series.
comes Mickey. There he is. Mike, you collect Mickeys?
Well, I don't know if I collect. I think everything I have was given to me. One of the things I wanted to mention was that I was fascinated by the amount of travel that this guy Dan Hannigan had to do for each and every episode. Thousands and thousands and thousands of miles.
Isn't it amazing how
And-
this stuff gets away? Like, how does it get away from these studios?
Yeah, you would think that. Well, I mean, a lot of it gets put in archives of some kind. There was an area down in the studios that you could walk through when you did the back lot tour that had a lot of that stuff, and I'm sure there are places that have it. But you're right, some of them just get somehow tossed aside or whatever. The machine in Honey I Shrunk the Kids, that's the one that really blew me away. It was in a park and it was all rusted, and it's like, how did it get there? You know?
Yeah.
It makes you want to go watch the movies again too. So like you watch this show, Prop Culture, then you want to go back and look at those artifacts again.
Yeah. Like a lot of these movies I was kind of looking through and saying I want to go back and see them. I want to relive them. Like Tron was the interesting one. And it just learning, like they even talked, they showed his costume to Bruce Boxleitner, right? And it's so interesting. Like it was put together with like tape and spandex. And you go, oh my God, like this, like it really is magic. Movies are magic in the sense that they create this, like they filmed it like black and white, and they put like an effect on it to make it look digital. And it's like the most rudimentary way to make something, and it made it look futuristic, which is just crazy. And then stuff going like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and just seeing that guy zip around in that car was
that was great. That was a great
fun. And it's amazing. I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys, but I'll give you a little bit of insight because my life is very weird. And I know we talked last week about me going and doing an event for the National Archives. I'm going to be speaking to the Walt Disney Archives staff in about a week. They contacted me and asked to come and talk about Disney because of the Disney book and my love of Disney. And then, so the people probably that you're seeing in the show, I will be speaking to in a week. So it's a sort of, it was a
Are
great.
you going out there?
No, obviously because of the virus, they're trying to keep. So they're finishing up. I was told they're finishing up all the prep work for the 50th anniversary of Disney World. So they were doing some kind of preparations. I tend to not ask too many questions, but so they've said, obviously, you need to keep your employees energized and give them events to do. I know Google does that a lot where they bring in speakers to talk to them about things. So I'm going to come in and talk about my love of Disney. I'm actually going to teach them how to draw Walt Disney while I'm there. So,
Fun.
So this was a great primer for me to sort of just get an idea of what they do and some of the things they do. I was invited. They said when this all breaks down and I'm out in LA, they've invited me to come see the archives. So when that happens, maybe we'll do a special episode. I'll take some video down there and maybe interview somebody and sort
We're
of.
not invited?
Look, I'd love to have everybody come. Maybe I can pull some strings. And then obviously maybe on the next one of the other shows, I'll talk about my event with them and give you a little behind the scenes talk. But this was a fun series. I'm glad we got to watch it. I hope they're going to do more. Have you heard anything, or is it just because you guys put me into this one? Like I was not aware of this at all. Obviously,
I've seen season 1. I think they're putting together season 2 now.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't know how much they're going to be able to do.
Yeah,
in these times, but
content is a scarcity right now.
Yeah, I think this is definitely the one of the good ones that I think we can recommend. Michelle, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Oh, love it. Just love it. It really, really, it's these little things that make us feel connected to the parks and to the movies. So
Yeah.
I just love Disney Plus. I'm really enjoying it. And I hope we can review some other things too.
Yeah, we have to talk about and figure out some more shows.
Yeah. Muppet Moments.
Yes, I started watching those as well. But to our viewers, if you have any other recommendations for the shows, make sure you put them down in the box below, or send us a tweet or something like that if you found a show that you really love. I know we want to eventually do The Mandalorian. I know there's actually a behind the scenes of The Mandalorian.
Yes, that's good too.
Thing.
Yeah.
But I maybe there's some other new content that Disney Plus is putting out that you guys want us to look at and review that you found enjoyable. Any last words, Mike? What do you think?
I think it's one of those shows on Disney Plus that I keep going back every time I look at Disney Plus. I'm looking to see if there's another episode. It's going to be sort of a staple for me as far as when I go to Disney Plus to look. And there are a lot of other things on Disney Plus, and we're going to have a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
I think that again, Disney, there are some things in the Disney vault that I'm hoping they pull out. I'm a big Zorro fan from way back when, and Spin and Marty and all those stuff. And then there's
Show your age, sir.
Yeah, and then there's there's the movies. They have a tremendous legacy, and it's nice to go back and watch Peter Pan or the other. I had never seen Cars, and I got to watch that, and
Really?
it's like, oh, it's not that
Not as bad as you heard?
good. Yeah. Well, I'm not a big Cars person, but with every Disney movie, there's a lesson to be learned, and there's a lesson that I thought came across really well. And it's also fun to.
Now
Yes,
you
please,
understand the
voices
whole theming behind Radiator Springs.
Radiator
at
Springs,
Disneyland.
yeah.
Yeah. The things I'm liking, I like seeing. So I'm sure you've gotten. I don't know if a lot of people have gotten those Disney Archive tin can DVDs that they came out with, the treasuries.
Yep.
And I love going back and watching those. And I've seen they've started putting some of those episodes on Disney Plus, like Disney at Night or A Year at Disney, which were episodes. The Man on the Moon
one. What was the animation one?
Oh, what was that one called?
Oh, what was that one? The Impossible. Oh,
The Possible Impossible or something like that.
Impossible. Yeah.
Which was great. I have that one as well. They were doing some of the Tomorrowland ones with
Plausible.
Walt Kimball as the director.
Impossible. Yeah.
Plausible Impossible. Right.
Yeah.
So I want to go back and revisit those, and hopefully, do I get to do the next suggestion? Like, you guys have to follow my next choice?
No.
Huh.
That
What
depends.
happened to this show? Oh,
Yes.
all right. So we'll start doing some
What do you
more.
want to recommend?
I don't know. I'll make it a surprise. I'll have to look at the shows. I want to do like some of the new content. Like the original content for the. I think that's a great way to start off this series. So, like I said, if anybody has recommendations, bring them down below. But other than that, I think Mike's got the final word. He likes it. He's there. Michelle, you in? All right, good. 2 thumbs up. All right, so then I guess on behalf of Mike Scopa and Michelle Scopa-McLean, I'm Chris Eliopoulos. We'll see you on the next show. Bye-bye, Mickey.